Do you ever wonder why so many people struggle with belly fat, no matter how many crunches they do? Have you noticed that most quick fix exercise videos promise the impossible flat abs in just a few days? And here's the truth no one tells you. Belly fat isn't just about exercise, it's about your hormones and metabolism. Hello health champions, I'm Dr. Nana, and today I'm inviting you to take on a 10-day challenge, just 5 minutes of focused exercise a day. But here's the twist, this video is not just another 5-minute workout. We're going deeper, because if you don't understand why these exercises matter, why even do them? I believe knowledge is power. If you want to truly master your health by understanding how the body really works, make sure you subscribe to Senior Health Boost and hit that notification bell, so you never miss out. Now, let's set the record straight. Exercise can help with belly fat, but it's not the primary way to burn it. Belly fat is a metabolic and hormonal condition. If you've got a belly like the top picture and want to look like the bottom picture, crunches alone won't do it. Not in a million years. So why am I even making this video? Because despite all the myths, exercise has tremendous benefits. But there's a problem. YouTube is full of misleading videos. I looked at around 10 of the most popular ones together. They had over 100 million views. And you know what? They were all wrong, incomplete, or even dangerous. Why misleading? Because they claim you can transform your belly in just minutes a day. That's simply not true, it's a lie. Why wrong? Because half the moves they show don't even work your abdominal muscles properly. Why dangerous? Because the young, super fit people demonstrating them have never been injured. They can get away with things your body simply can't, especially if you already have belly fat or back pain. And here's the reality. If you're not 20 years old, if you're not in top athletic condition, then doing those wrong exercises is far more likely to give you back pain than results. That's why in this video, you're going to learn the right way. You'll learn how to do the exercises safely, why they work, and most importantly, how not to hurt yourself. Let's start with some simple anatomy. Don't worry, I'll keep it clear and easy, you're going to love it. The main stomach muscle everyone wants to target is the rectus abdominis. It attaches at the sternum and lower ribs on top, and at the pubic bone of your pelvis on the bottom. Alongside it, you also have the oblique muscles, which help with rotation and give your midsection tone. The first thing to understand about muscles is simple but crucial. Muscles can only contract, they can only shorten. They can't push, they can't extend, they can't lengthen themselves. So to work a muscle, you have to shorten it by bringing its two attachment points closer together. That means if you pull your ribcage down toward your pelvis, or pull your pelvis up toward your ribs, you're contracting your abs. If you don't bring those points closer together, you're not truly working your stomach muscles. Now, here's where things get even more important. As a chiropractor, I've treated thousands of patients with low back pain. In most cases, the problem comes from tight hip flexors, specifically the iliopsoas muscle and weak abdominal muscles. The iliopsoas attaches from the spine and pelvis down into the thigh bone. When it contracts, it pulls your knee up toward your chest, but it also tilts your pelvis forward and pulls your lower back with it, creating stress and strain. That's why strengthening the abdominal muscles, especially where they attach to the pubic bone, is essential. They act like a counterbalance to protect your spine against that constant pull. Without strong abs, your hip flexors dominate, your pelvis tips forward, and your lower back suffers. And this is exactly why so many generic belly fat workouts end up causing more pain than progress. In the last part, we uncovered how tight hip flexors and weak abdominal muscles can create a dangerous imbalance, often leading to low back pain. Now, let's take this a step further and explore exactly what makes hip flexors too strong, why so many exercises on YouTube make the problem worse, and what this all really means for burning belly fat. Why hip flexors become too strong. When the hip flexors overpower the abdominal muscles, it sets up a chain reaction of stress and pain. There are 3 everyday situations that make hip flexors tight and dominant. First, long hours of sitting. Think about it. How many of us spend 8 or more hours at a desk each day? Sitting shortens the hip flexors and keeps them locked in a contracted position. Over time, they get tighter and tighter, while the abs remain weak and underused. Second, driving. When you're in the car, you're still sitting, but now you're adding repetitive movement. Every time you press the gas or hit the brake, you activate the hip flexors again and again. That back and forth action just piles stress onto muscles that are already tight from sitting. It's like adding insult to injury. Third, Doing sit-ups or AB exercises the wrong way. This is the one most people don't realize. You might think you're training your abs, but if your form is off, you're really just reinforcing the imbalance, making your hip flexors stronger and leaving your abs weaker. What's really happening in popular YouTube workouts? Let's break down a few common exercises you've probably seen in viral flat belly videos. In one example, the trainer lies flat and lifts her legs straight up toward her trunk. On the surface, it looks like an AB exercise. But what's really happening? Because the leg is straight, it creates a long lever. That lever puts a heavy load on the hip flexors, not the abs. When she lowers her leg, the low back arches as the hip flexors pull the spine forward. The abs aren't actively contracting, they're just passively resisting the arch. The real work is happening in the hip flexors and the strain lands squarely on the lower back. In another variation, both legs are lifted at the same time. Now the load is doubled. With no ground support, the strain on the back increases even more. Again, the abs are not pulling the pelvis toward the chest, so they're not being trained properly. Instead, the psoas, the deepest hip flexor, is overworked, creating even more imbalance. A slightly different move shows the exerciser curling up with her hips coming off the floor. Here, for a brief moment, the abs do engage. But watch what happens when she extends her legs parallel to the floor. Her back arches dramatically under the pull of the hip flexors. As she gets tired, her form breaks down. She begins jerking her body upward, arching her back further, because her stomach muscles can't counteract the motion anymore. For anyone with back issues, this kind of jerking and arching is a nightmare waiting to happen. Then there's the classic full sit-up. While it does involve the abs, it relies even more on the hip flexors. Lying flat, arching the back, then whipping the arms forward creates an abrupt, explosive pull on the spine. The motion is sharp, uncontrolled, and very traumatic for the lower back, especially if the spine is already under stress. When you see these moves back to back, the pattern becomes obvious. Most popular AB exercises aren't really AB exercises at all. They strengthen the very muscles that are already too strong, while putting the back at greater risk. Does any of this actually work for belly fat? That brings us to the big question. Do these exercises even burn belly fat? The short answer, not really. Like I said earlier, belly fat is 95% a metabolic issue. It's not about crunching your way to a flat stomach. It's about hormones like insulin and cortisol, blood sugar regulation, and stress levels. So when you see a young, super fit trainer with no belly fat doing these moves, it's important to recognize what's really happening. These people don't have a metabolic problem to begin with. For them, the exercises are about toning and fitness, not fat loss. And that's fine, toning up is great, but their results don't apply to someone who's struggling with real belly fat caused by metabolic dysfunction. If you're carrying extra fat around your midsection, the root cause is almost always hormonal imbalance. Elevated insulin and cortisol levels drive fat storage. The way to fix that is through lifestyle changes, reducing sugar, lowering refined carbs, stabilizing blood sugar, and managing stress. So where does exercise fit in? It's only about 5% of the solution when it comes directly to belly fat, but that 5% still matters. And the indirect benefits are enormous. Why? That 5% still matters. So you might be thinking, if exercise is such a small piece of the puzzle, why dedicate a whole video to it? Why even issue a 10-day challenge? Because exercise offers benefits that go far beyond fat loss. It doesn't just shape your body, it transforms how your brain and nervous system function. Think about it. Everything you do, everything you feel, everything you know about yourself depends on your brain. A healthy brain means clear thinking, stable emotions, good memory, and resilience in the face of stress. An unhealthy brain means the opposite: foggy thinking, low energy, anxiety, and poor decision-making. So now we see the problem clearly. Wrong exercises overwork the hip flexors and strain the back, and even when done correctly, exercise itself isn't the main driver of belly fat loss. But exercise does play a crucial supporting role, especially when it comes to brain health and quality of life. In the next part, we'll dive into those 3 critical things your brain needs to thrive, starting with fuel and how exercise fits into the bigger picture of lasting health. In the last part, we discovered how exercise contributes to brain health and how that 5% role matters far more than people realize. Now let's dig into the deeper connection. Why movement is absolutely essential for your brain, your stress levels, and even your ability to burn belly fat. Why? The brain needs more than just fuel and oxygen. Most people know the brain needs fuel like glucose or ketones. And of course, it needs oxygen. That's why we breathe every second of the day. But here's the part almost nobody understands. The third component, activation, isn't optional. It's absolutely critical. Think of it this way. The purpose of a muscle is to contract and do work. The purpose of the brain is to process information. Just like muscles get stronger when you challenge them in the gym, the brain gets stronger when you feed it signals. So where do those signals come from? Some people think it's about crossword puzzles, memory games, or mental exercises. And yes, those activities can strengthen existing neural networks. They make what's already there more efficient and solid. But they don't do much to grow new tissue or create brand new circuits. To truly build the brain, you need to flood it with signals, and nothing does that like movement. Why movement matters so much is something to consider. About 90% of the stimulation that nourishes and energizes your brain comes from physical movement. Every step you take, every stretch, every shift in posture, sends powerful signals up your spinal cord into the brain. Just how important is this? Let's put it in one unforgettable sentence. Things that don't move don't have brains. Think of a tree or a plant. It doesn't move, and it doesn't have a brain. The very reason we evolved brains in the first place was to coordinate movement. So if you stop moving, your brain loses its lifeline. It gets weaker, slower, and less resilient. That's how vital exercise really is, not just for your body, but for your mind. The brain, stress, and belly fat. Now, how does all this tie back to fat loss, belly fat, and metabolism? When you move, you're activating your whole brain, but especially the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the control center. And here's what's fascinating. About 80–90 of what the frontal lobe does is inhibitory. That means it turns things off, calms things down, and stabilizes your internal state. One of the most important things it turns off is stress. By strengthening your frontal lobe, you improve its ability to shut down the stress response. Less stress means lower cortisol. And cortisol is a major driver of belly fat. The frontal lobe also reduces anxiety and depression. And we all know what happens when we're anxious or depressed. Cravings shoot up, comfort eating takes over, and belly fat grows even faster. On top of that, the frontal lobe boosts motivation and willpower. It helps you resist temptations, stay disciplined, and follow through on your goals. Imagine how much easier fat loss becomes when your brain itself is helping you say no to cravings and yes to consistency. So by training your body through movement, you're actually training your brain to manage stress, control cravings, and support your fat loss journey. The core muscle connectionist. There's something special about working the core muscles, the very muscles of your stomach and trunk, that benefits the brain. Absolutely. Your spine isn't just a column of bones, it's wrapped in layers of muscles. In fact, there are hundreds of tiny muscles around the spine, arranged in 3 layers. Together, they generate an enormous stream of signals to the brain with every movement you make. That means when your core is strong and flexible, you're constantly stimulating your brain just by standing, bending, or walking. A weak, unstable core, on the other hand, cuts off that steady flow of stimulation. So strengthening your core isn't just about protecting your back or looking toned. It's about keeping your brain switched on, sharp, and alive. Safer, smarter core exercise. So how do we strengthen the core in a way that helps both the body and the brain without the dangers of those popular but harmful exercises? 1. The plank. The plank engages the entire core, but form is critical. Start your workout with it while you're fresh. Keep your low back flat, don't sag, and avoid arching. If you feel your form slipping, stop, because once you arch, you risk hurting yourself. 2. The abdominal brace. Lie on your back with your knees bent and feet flat. You'll probably notice a small gap under your lower back. Flatten it by pressing your spine firmly against the floor. Then tighten your abs and press downward, as if you were trying to put pressure on an invisible scale under your back. Hold for about 15 seconds, rest, and repeat. Simple, but powerful. And remember, not in bed. A soft surface won't give you the stability you need. 3. The slow slide crunch. Again, lie on your back with knees bent. Slide your hands slowly up your thighs toward your knees, keeping the motion smooth and continuous. The key is contraction, bringing the ribcage closer to the pelvis. Done correctly, there's no strain on your low back or hip flexors. It may feel easy at first, but keep going, you'll feel the burn soon enough. Aim for 20–30 reps. 4. The diagonal crunch. Bring one elbow toward the opposite knee. This creates rotation, activating the oblique muscles in addition to the rectus abdominis. Notice how the ribcage moves closer to the pelvis. That's proper abdominal work. And while the knee lifts, the hip flexor isn't carrying a heavy load, so it's a safe and effective way to target your abs with rotation. Smooth, controlled, consistent, those are the keys to safe and effective core training. So now we understand, movement fuels the brain, a strong frontal lobe keeps stress and cravings in check, and safe core exercises not only protect your back, but also sharpen your mind. In the next part, we'll take this holistic view even further. We'll explore how to handle the root causes of dysfunction, why fixing what's missing and removing what's interfering is the real path to lasting results. Now that we've learned how to strengthen the core with safe, controlled movements, let's add in one more variation. This one brings in lateral flexion, or side bending, which wakes up the muscles along the trunk and gives your spine some much-needed flexibility. Here's how it works. Start flat on your back, then gently reach down toward the heel on the same side. Simple, right? Yet this motion provides excellent stimulation for the brain because it activates muscles that often don't get enough use in daily life. It also helps restore range of motion, something crucial if you've ever had back issues and want a safe way to reintroduce movement. Now, don't let the next exercise fool you. At first glance, it may look easy, but I assure you it's one of the toughest abdominal exercises you can attempt. The beauty, though, is that even though it's challenging, it's also incredibly safe and very effective at isolating the lower abdominals, an area most people struggle to target. Here's how to do it. Lie flat on your back, knees bent at 90 degrees. From there, lift your legs straight up toward the ceiling. If you try and nothing happens, don't worry. That's normal at first. Just the act of engaging those muscles and making the attempt is already beneficial. You'll be surprised how much strength you build over time, even when the movement is barely visible in the beginning. For those who want a slightly easier entry point, curl up just a little and bring your knees closer to your chest. This makes the motion more manageable, but the key remains the same: slow, smooth, controlled movements. No jerking, no momentum. The muscles should do the work, not momentum or force. Over time, you'll notice better activation, more control, and greater strength in those stubborn lower abs. The real game changer. Now let me introduce you to what I consider a true game changer. Interestingly, it's not even an abdominal exercise. Yet it may be the most important move you can add if your goal is to burn belly fat. Why? Because, as we've said many times, belly fat isn't just about crunches or sit-ups, it's a metabolic condition. That means to get real results, you need to influence your hormones, especially insulin and growth hormone. Reducing sugar and carbs lowers insulin. But here's where it gets exciting. You can boost growth hormone naturally. And growth hormone? That's your body's fat-burning hormone. It helps mobilize stored fat and keeps burning it long after you finish exercising. The incredible part is that you don't need hours in the gym to stimulate it. A short, intense workout of just a few minutes can trigger growth hormone that stays elevated for days. Imagine your body still burning fat while you're resting, working, or even sleeping. That's the power of this approach. There are two proven ways to boost growth hormone: fasting and high-intensity interval training, often called HIIT. My HIIT example here is a simple example of how I do it. I start with my heart rate around 74. Then I hop on a bike, crank up the resistance, and pedal as hard as I possibly can for about 15 seconds. Instantly, my heart rate jumps to 128, then 140, then higher. I alternate 15 seconds of all-out effort with 15 seconds of rest. Each round, the heart rate climbs higher: 148, 149, 155. Sometimes I can push it to 170. On a bike, it's harder to reach that peak compared to running, but it's also safer. No pounding on the joints, no risk of tripping, and you can hold onto the handles for stability. After just a few minutes, I've done enough to flood my body with growth hormone. That means fat burning has been set in motion, and it will keep working for me long after I've stepped off the bike. Your 10-day challenge. So here's my challenge for you. Starting today, pick 4 to 6 exercises that you feel comfortable with, the ones you know won't cause pain or injury. They could be planks, abdominal braces, diagonal crunches, or any of the safe moves we've covered. Do each one for about 1 minute, back to back. That's it. Simple, effective, and achievable. Now, during this 10-day period, I want you to sprinkle in some HIIT sessions, about 2 or 3 times in total, depending on your energy and recovery. You can do height on a bike, just like I demonstrated. Or if you're in good shape and injury-free, you could do it running stairs, sprinting hills, jumping jacks, or any movement that safely gets your heart rate up. The key is short, explosive effort followed by brief rest, repeated for just a few minutes. And don't worry, you don't need to do both abdominal work and height on the same day, unless you feel up to it. If you want to focus on core one day and height another, that's perfectly fine. If you're strong enough to combine them occasionally, even better. Just remember, no more than 2 or 3 height sessions total during this 10-day challenge. Quality matters far more than quantity. What results can you expect? Now, I'm not here to promise you'll have a completely flat belly in just 10 days. That wouldn't be honest. But what I can promise is this: if you follow this challenge, you'll be building the foundation of a new habit, one that blends smart, safe movement with powerful metabolic activation. You'll feel stronger, more energized, and you'll set your body up for long-term fat burning and health improvement. And here's something even better. This isn't just about belly fat. These exercises and height sessions also support your brain health, stress resilience, and overall vitality. That's why I believe this 10-day challenge could be the first step to a whole new lifestyle. Wrapping it up, so there you have it. Safe, effective core exercises that protect your back, stimulate your brain, and strengthen your body, combined with the ultimate fat-burning boost from high-intensity interval training. That's the formula. Not quick gimmicks, not dangerous fads, but science-based steps you can actually stick with. I challenge you. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect time. Take 10 days, commit just a few minutes a day, and watch how your body begins to change, not just on the outside, but from the inside out. And before you go, let me leave you with this. Your health is your greatest investment. Treat it with care, and it will reward you every single day of your life. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, because it really supports the channel. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Senior Health Boost. That way, you'll never miss another life-changing video packed with tips to keep your body strong, your brain sharp, and your energy high. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. I'm Dr. Nana, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay healthy, stay strong, and keep moving forward.